Even if we manage to pull that off, and that's saying something. The real question is, who are we selling this to?
Same people we've been selling it to for the last 2 years, and whoever else will buy it.
But John, if you do this, you will kill the market for years. It's over.
Man, please do a follow-up on this one. The subreddit has been like watching the aftermath of a nuclear bomb for these last few days. CA has finally released an official response in which they imply that they'll end support for the game if people don't accept the price hike, and also implied that they need the extra cash to cover for costs of other projects, Hyenas and Troy too. To put it mildly, the Reddit was not happy with it. Baldur's Gate 3 could not have come out at a better time. Yeah. And I've got to admit, this whole thing is just the perfect storm of embarrassing hilarity. It's great. Thanks to it, the consumers have finally woken up. Could actually argue this to an extent. I'm still seeing the usual rhetoric from all the consumers in the shows in some measure, but there's now a substantial pushback to these narratives that I've been identifying for the past, what is it, depending on how you look at it, the past decade, the past 3 years since I started critiquing. So this is a hell of a big told you so moment. Like, holy shit, I can barely even fit in all of the told you so's that I should be saying right now. Couldn't even do justice to all of the told you so if I was to try. All I can really do is encourage people to watch my Total Decline playlist again and just put their feet up and laugh at how right I was about all this. Couldn't have come out at a better time. Thanks to it, the consumers have finally woken up. All over the sub, people are comparing Larian with Creative Assembly stuff like, Larian, here's a day 10 patch that fixed 1,000 plus issues. Patch 2.0 will come soon with even more changes based on your feedback. Meanwhile at CA, please buy our overpriced DLC or we end support. We need the money to afford releasing minor patches that modders have already created every 6 months. Don't forget to buy Troy 2 or we might also drop support for Warhammer 3.
And you're selling something that you know has no value.
We are selling to willing buyers at the current fair market price, so that we may survive.
You will never sell anything to any of those people ever again.
I understand.
Do you?
Do you? This is it! I'm telling you, this is it!
People really want me to do a follow-up to this, because I pointed out the boiled frog aspect that Admiral Price used. That was his original terminology for like 2 years ago. That was quite good from him. He identified the state of things and predicted that we would have a boiling the frog scenario unfolding years in advance. And all I did was call back to his terminology. And now people are saying that I stole boiled the frog from someone called Mandalore. These Warhammer fucking losers. Holy shit. Like I came up with it when I use it in the title of a video, and then the video opens with Admiral Price using it, and that's who I'm quoting from 2 years ago, because I fucking remembered 2 years into the past. Fucking retards. Oh my god. Alright, so here is the CA response to the price of the DLC. This is it. Alright, so here it goes. Hello everyone, sharing a message from Creative Assembly regarding the recent pricing discussions from the Total War DLC. I'm Rob Bartholomew, Chief Product Officer here at Creative Assembly. Product Officer. First off, I'd like to thank... First off the bat. Yeehaw, first off the bat. I'd like to thank you for making your voices heard over the past week. Hopefully longer term Total War fans know that even when we're quiet, we're always listening to everything you have to say to us. Yeah, we know that. We know you sit silently just listening. Just watching it, not even fucking doing anything or saying anything. Just bringing up the crisis team. What do we do, guys? What do we do? How do we damage control this? Fuck's sake. We've had many conversations about it internally and would like to shed some light in the situation. Yeah, people have been waiting. Last week we revealed the latest DLC for Total War Warhammer 3 Shadows of Change, bringing the Changeling, Yuan Bo, Mother Osank... oh stank, yeah. Like, what the fuck is this? And more to the game. The teams have been hard at work on this for some time, and we're excited for you to get your hands on it. To get right into it, our costs are up. Our costs are up. Their costs are up. Oh my god. Yeah, so they are making a killing. We've seen that from the financial reports. They're sitting on like 50 million in the bank, just sitting there. They've never made more profit than they are right now. They hired massively. They've expanded substantially. They're doing 10 different shitty products. They've got Hyenas, they've got Pharaoh, they're doing all this shit. They're just trying to make more money, more profit, and they're talking about their costs being up. Why do you think your costs are up? It's because you're churning out fucking loads of shit games. It's not about your costs being up, it's about the margin that you're capable of achieving with these Warhammer losers, with this tacky fucking garbage that you're pumping out, that you've been pumping out for years. You want to protect your really high margins, and to do that, you're going to just put the price up even more and hope that these fucking losers take the bait and just go for it. Just buy it anyway. Which they will. We both know. See, me and you, we both know some of these fucking degenerates that have spent like $5,000 on pieces of plastic are going to buy this shitty DLC that we both know is shite. We both know it. That's what's actually going on. Come on. Stop trying to bullshit. This is meant to bullshit me on top of bullshit everyone else. No way. Fortunately, that means that prices have to rise. Yeah, by what? So, how much are your costs up? What percentage? What is it you're trying to protect here? Your margin or your ROI? What is it you're trying to preserve by increasing the price by 150% while having hired, 100 staff, 200 extra staff since 2021? Like, every year they hire another 100 or 200 staff, and they're the biggest game developer in the UK, and they're talking about their costs being up. Fuck's sake. So you hire more staff to work on more projects, you pull people off of this project to work on those other projects, which means that you're spending less money on this project than ever, and yet you have to put the price of each unit up for this project, even though you're spending less than ever on these things that you're selling. And by the way, this is reminding me of the bullshit that they used to say about the Blood Pack DLC. It costs them nothing to make the Blood Pack. You could make a Blood Pack for a Total War game with like 1 or 2 people working a few months, and that's it. At most. I can't imagine how it would take more than that. How many man-hours of work does it take to create a Blood Pack for one of these games? It's not like it's particularly ambitious, the effects. Do they even have the blood on the screen anymore that they had in Shogun 2? Shogun 2 was when Blood Pack started, and that was actually quite drastic back then. I remember thinking, wow, this is cool. But I've not had that impact from any Blood Pack ever since. And I've heard ex-CA staff tell me that it costs them nothing to make that shit, and they make millions off of it. And while they were making, and if we grant that's correct, they were making millions off of something that they spent almost nothing to produce, and the whole time they were making that money, they were justifying it to us by saying it's to protect the age rating of the game, and people have done digging and found out that they were lying about a lot of that stuff. And I remember in my video, a treatise on Rome 2, I think I screenshotted one of their bullshit excuses where they say, we can't have it free otherwise it'll change the rating of the base game, and then someone responded immediately, right there and then, by saying, if that was true, you could just charge $1 for it or 10 cents for it, but you don't, you charge like $3 or $5. So their own bullshit gets dismantled immediately. It loses all credibility as soon as it gets said, and they have to make up something else. So if they were lying then, how the hell are they telling the truth now? If we can't believe them back then, a decade ago, how are we supposed to believe them now? It's all bullshit. It's all bullshit. This is just damage control. This is drafted by a crisis team to pour water on this fire, and that's all it's meant to do. It's not meant to communicate anything. It's not meant to be clear. This is just damage control bullshit, PR speak. Absolute trash. Unfortunately, that means that prices have to rise. We know any increase is going to be tough, which is why our prices have remained fairly stable over the past few years. I don't think so. I think it's been going up and up and up. Has it not? Fairly stable. What is that in comparison to a 150% increase? Am I right here that this DLC they're selling for $25 would have previously sold for like $10? Is it actually a 150% increase? Is that what... Are people doing the math right? Is this from $10 to $25? Because that's what a 150% increase means, and that's what a 150% incrementation to get $25 would start with, $10. So am I right, $10 to $25? Is that how they can claim that this is not a lie, fairly stable? Because compared to a 150% increase, increasing the prices every 6 months or every year is fairly stable. If it's only by $1 or $2 compared to fucking $15. Is that how they justify their bullshit? The downside is that any increase today is going to be more noticeable. Yeah, apparently it is more noticeable. A lot of people have noticed. There's no good time to increase prices, and we've not taken this step lightly. However, this is the business reality of supporting Warhammer 3 and ensuring we're able to offer the years of extra content that are currently planned. Wow. Wasn't there years of extra content planned for Three Kingdoms? Didn't they plan that as well, and then they just fucking canned it all? The future of Three Kingdoms, the future of Warhammer 3, is that where we are now? That said, we do need to challenge ourselves to ensure that this cost still offers good value. Yeah, I'm sure you're actually challenging yourselves. I have no doubt whatsoever that there's a tiny team of only a few people that are being absolutely whipped to pump this shit out, and they're doing everything they can as individual people working for this company. But I suspect that for the amount of money that they're getting on this, it's not remotely justified for them to be so frugal and not even fix bugs in this game, which seems to be the situation. I just don't buy this at all. Ultimately, that's up to each of you to decide, and we'll keep trying to balance that. Of course, we want more people to play. No, you don't. You don't care about that anymore. You're not spending anything on marketing and outreach at this point. You've already done all that for the first two games. Warhammer 3 was the beginning of the end stage of the milk, where you're just fucking squeezing that tea to get those last drops out. You've already spent everything you're going to spend. Come on. This is the end of the line. This is the tail end of this whole milking project, where there's expected to be a massive return on investment of anything that gets put in, and you're trying not to fall for the trap of throwing more money after this. You're not interested in spending any money on this whatsoever. You're just going to be pumping out increasingly shitty DLCs with an increasingly high return on investment of the money that you're going to be putting in from now on. That's what I think. The marketing is done. The marketing is over. It's the end of the project. This is like a fire sale, basically. That's what this is. That's the moral equivalent of what this is. There's got to be a name for this. It's like CA is like a landlord that has got a building that's fallen apart, and they're just trying to make money out of it while they still can. So they're gonna just rent it out to anyone that's willing to fucking sit in it and tolerate its shit. And every time a tenant moves out and the building falls apart a little bit more, like more tiles slip off, the plaster on the walls just crumbles a little bit more, they put the rent down a little bit more each time until eventually no one is willing to live there, and then the thing just gets bulldozed. That's what I imagine this being like at this point. There's got to be a term for this. Of course, we want more people to play, we want to continue to deliver content you're excited to see, and we want to do that for as long as we can. Yeah, fuck off. To share more on Warhammer 3 specifically, here's an update from Rich Aldridge, Senior Game Director. With Shadows of Change, we wanted to somewhat break the mold of past DLCs to ensure that we could bring you as much content variety. Content. You should have put diversity here just to take the piss. Content diversity. You all have your favourite lords, heroes and races to play, and restricting our products to a single race or faction hasn't always met your expectations. We also hope that this would improve the pace at which we're able to get content to you, which has been a challenge. I'm really excited by what we've created in Shadows of Change in Update 4.0. The Changeling plays like no other in the series, scheming and tricking your enemies into conflict with one another. Wow, if only this was new and it isn't just a complete obvious rip-off of Cao Cao and what he was. Come on. They've probably just pasted the code over from Cao Cao and Three Kingdoms, because they've been pasting code back and forwards between Three Kingdoms and Warhammer this whole damn time. Lubu and that thing that gets infinite movement on the campaign map, that's the big one. They've just been pasting shit back and forwards over and over again this whole time. And I bet you right now, I'm calling it right now, I have no knowledge of any of this Warhammer bullshit beyond what I'm seeing right now and what I might have read on the shithole sub. And I'm telling you right now, I bet people are going to be noticing similarities between this shit and Sao Sao and Three Kingdoms. Like, that's a project, someone can take that up. Take me up on that, someone. See if you can find any similarities or easy recyclings that have been performed on this and Sao Sao, because if it could have been done, they will have done it. They've tipped me off, and I'm calling it. Whilst leeching off other settlements feels great, and we really hope it opens up new gameplay opportunities. I'm equally itching to see how you get on with Yuan Bo, the Jade Dragon, and Mother Ostankia, 2 new characters for the series and Warhammer World, both of whom have their own agendas and are ruthless in their actions. Talking of the patch, offers a host of fixes, as you might expect, including Nakai once again being able to use his croc cigars. There's that shit that I kept seeing. Bretonnian vows now progressing correctly in campaign for damsels. Ranged units no longer running headfirst into melee when out of ammo. Isn't that a big one that people have complained about a lot? Even Three Kingdoms had really embarrassing problems with ranged units. Like, seeing ambushes in Three Kingdoms, when I just dropped Three Kingdoms and decided this game's a buggy pile of shit for which no good gameplay is possible. Like, see with my Sao Sao campaign that I uploaded, when I terminated that campaign, it was still true then that ranged units would not fire at will during ambush battles for no goddamn reason. It was so bad. That is such a horrible bug. I think they fixed it since, but I patiently waited for all this shit, all this different shit to be fixed, and none of it was, and I just gave up on that game. And that was part of why, all these ranged unit bugs that the game had. And of course, it's because it was a copy-paste of Warhammer. Cathai Legendary Lords now having magical items, but that's just a few of the changes. Look at our full patch notes. To wrap up, I can't stress enough how much the team and I want the best for the game. I'm sure that's true for some of the people at the team, and to provide you with fun and memorable experiences. Changing the content formula and making other improvements behind the scenes is designed to help us do exactly that. We'll keep assessing and iterating as we stay on this path. Thanks as always for your support and voicing your concerns, both are important to us. Yeah, fuck off. I hope you enjoy Shadows of Change once it's in your hands. Yeah, for the few people for which it will be, hopefully. So to recap, we know this is a tough change for some of our players. We know this may mean some of you wait for future discounts or sales, and we know that this explanation does not make the situation any easier, but it's important for you to hear from us, and we hope that if nothing else, this helps clarify why this decision was made. Hasn't really clarified much at all. All it says is being a business is hard. This is fucking useless. Oh my god. It's saying it's hard to be a subsidiary of a massive corporation at a time when... Alright, let's have a look at this. Sega Sammy Holdings. Alright, you have to see this, lads. Sega Sammy Holdings. Alright, here we go. In case any of you don't know how to just Google a stock ticker, here's what it all means. Past month, down 7%. Past 6 months, up 23%, so that's like 3 or 4 years of gains in 6 months. That is quite volatile and quite a lot. And then past year, it continues to be good. It's got momentum, 45% in the past year to date. So that is from January up to August. So the past 8 months, it's up 44%, which massively outperforms the market, especially the Japanese market. Past 12 months, up 36%. Past 5 years, up 60%. So Sega Sammy Holdings has stagnated for years, and then in the past year, and to some extent due to the performance of Warhammer and all the Warhammer fanboy kiddies just throwing the money at CA, Sega has massively outperformed the market. So CA, the subsidiary of Sega, is sitting pretty as the subsidiary of a corporation that has massively outperformed the rest of the market. JPY top 100 stocks. What's it called again? What's the index called? What's the index? Oh yeah, JP225. JP225. No, I'll have to just go to one of these websites. So past year. Alright, so let's go... Alright, let's go to August 2022. So it's up by about 15 or 20% since August, whereas Sega stock is up by 37% since August. So, yep, Sega is outperforming the Japanese market by a lot. Let's take global all cap. So, the entire global market is currently... FTSE all cap, come on. Have to just go to Vanguard. Alright. Price and performance. So the market for the past year has been mostly flat. We're below where we were a year ago. So the market is down in the past year. The Japanese market has outperformed the global market, and Sega has outperformed even the Japanese market in the past year. And we're meant to believe this bullshit about, oh, we're hurting, oh, it's so hard to do capitalism, oh, guys. They're being greedy, they're trying to expand, they're trying to get as much money as they can. That's all that they're doing at the moment. It's not because it's hard, it's because they're having a hard time making even more money than they currently are. Fuck off, man. See, if you're just an everyday person reading this, you must be thinking, oh man, everyone's hurting right now. They must be struggling. I'm really sympathetic to their plight here. They're doing everything they can, and they're even explaining it to me how hard it is for them. It's hard for me as well, so understand. Alright, I'm going to just pay $25 for this pile of shit DLC now. When in reality, they are smooth sailing, they're coasting better than pretty much anyone. As a corporation, like, it's so fucking stupid, man. It's so retarded. Fuck this. And then the cherry on top is this final paragraph. Finally, we need to ask you to stop directing abuse at individual team members, frustrated as you may get. These are human beings who spend many hours representing you and your voices within the studio. All of our work gets easier when they're treated with respect. And they always do this. This is always to mobilise the fan base against itself, to diffuse. So they're trying to direct people's anger horizontally instead of vertically. Typical. Because there's nothing to this. Nothing. This is non-substantiated. Continuing on from the corporate realities stuff though, when you look at what Sega is saying here, it starts to get interesting. Sega says Hyenas has been a challenging title and it's adjusting its business model. So what that tells me is that they're expecting for Hyenas to underperform. So while they're doing well now, they're expecting to not be doing that well in the future. So if you have, for example, Warhammer 3 stopping bringing in money, Hyenas never starting to bring in money, Pharaoh totally bombing, then maybe they are doing all this to try and shore up, hedge their bets. They're trying to milk this as hard as they can now so that the hits don't hurt as much when they come later. They're expecting to get really clobbered. They might be expecting to really start doing badly in the near future, and that might be what this is all about. Adjusting its business model. That means what we planned doesn't look like it's going to work. Game won't be free to play. Sega's described Hyenas as a challenging title and said it's adjusting the major games business model ahead of its release. Major games, so it's bigger than Warhammer 3 probably. Scheduled to release this year. Hyenas is scheduled to release this year? I didn't even know that. So it's not going to be free. Sega Sammy executives were asked if they could provide an update on the game, such as its business model and expected impact on earnings during a QA session. We're unable to talk about this title because details have not been announced at this time. As this is a challenging title, we're striving to improve its quality towards the release and the front line of development. We're also making final adjustments to its business model in parallel. Challenging title. I think they know that Hyenas is a really generic game for which the prospects are in all likelihood quite bad, and Warhammer 3 is looking really fucked now, because all they can do is just keep milking a diminishing amount of milk out of the teat with each subsequent DLC that liquidates more and more of the goodwill, the vestigial goodwill that has been built in these consumers, or that remains in these consumers at the very least. Because I imagine they arrived at Total War with a lot of the goodwill already there, and it's just been getting slowly milked, liquidated. So that's diminishing away. And then you've also got Pharaoh that's just a complete flop, dead on arrival. So that's what I think is currently going on. That's the state of Creative Assembly as I see it. They have a lot of projects that are just poor prospects. The prognosis is poor for different reasons. And then there's this post. CA's account suggests they're lying about cost increases, so I didn't really care about the DLC drama until the statement today. If it's poor value for money, I just won't buy it. Yep. However, this statement about how their costs have increased caught my interest, and I thought I'd check to see how that lines up with their accounts to try and see why their costs could be increasing. CA's operating profit increased by 23.757% to 6.7 million from 2021 to 22, which they say can be attributed to revenue growing faster than costs. Their strategic report, pages 1 to 6, make interesting reading in that it says they have no third-party borrowing and therefore are unaffected by the interest rate increase in the UK, at least directly. Therefore, any rise in costs must be inflation or labour-related. Brexit is unlikely to have had any effect on costs, as they have been doing so well since 2019 that the studio has been able to accelerate growth plans. I just cannot see how their costs could have risen so much in 1 year that it justifies such a price increase. The only business risk they highlight for inflation is its impact on consumer spending, not costs to the business. It very much feels like this explanation is bullshit. The only thing I can sort of see beyond a pure desire to squeeze even more profit for no additional work, exactly, is that Pharaoh's pre-orders are bad, exactly, and they're feeling pressure to justify development time on other Total War titles. The report highlights that a significant portion of the studio's resources... Why is this orange? Oh my god, it's orange again. The report highlights that a significant portion of the studio's resources are committed to the Total War franchise. The underperformance of a title could have an adverse impact on the funding of future Total War projects, as development teams may need to be rationalised. Rationalised? That's a weird word. And this looks quite serious to me. This is them saying that if Total War doesn't perform well, then we could pull funding from future Total War games. We could just stop making Total War games. That's what this looks like. That's the most sensationalist interpretation of this. Total War could just stop if it ceases to be profitable enough. And while that's always the case, the fact that they're saying it here is remarkable. So, there you go, clickbait headline for any of the anti-shills, you know, the people that are the complete opposite of the shills. Total War could be cancelled. Total War, the whole of Total War could end. It still very much feels like the community is being taken for a ride. Link for those interested. They are a $100 million company with steady revenue, of course they're lying about increased costs, lol. It's just pure corporate greed. Damn fucking right. Estimated revenue and valuation. Creative Assembly's estimated annual revenue is currently $250 million a year. Estimated revenue per employee is $105,000. Creative Assembly has 115 employees. Creative Assembly grew their employee count by 8% last year. Poor CA having such hard times. However, will they survive? Oh, the humanity. Yeah, exactly. And by the way, I was saying this in 2020 when Troy launched. Like, there's even screenshots trying to smear me how I was talking about people LARPing as fucking shareholders. I would see people say, how can Warhammer 2 be a failure? It massively outsold any previous Total War game. And I would say, shut the fuck up, stop LARPing as shareholders and board members, fucking cringe. What the fuck are you doing? You're a gamer, you're a nerd that plays games. That's all you care about, that's all you're here to do. What are you talking about? Talking about success in terms of sales? You don't give a shit about sales, you get nothing out of the game selling, you want a good game. And I would get smeared for pulling these people's heads out of their asses for this stuff. And now people are saying it on the shithole subreddit, the place they launch their smears from. How fucking absurd is this? I was right the whole fucking time, you morons. Oh my god. These people are so pathetic, man. This is the problem with having a fan base that's just made up of teenage, early 20s, fat neckbeards. This is the problem with it. Jesus Christ, fucking fanboys. Fanboy consumer bases, fuck's sake. multiple studios maintaining Warhammer 3, making Pharaoh, making 3K sequel. This is another thing. Where is this 3K sequel? Like, what the hell is going on with that? Has that just been cancelled? Yeah, and that's true. They mentioned the 3K sequel and the moving on from 3K, but we've just heard nothing ever since. 3K sequel is abandoned for your information. Source common sense. Yeah, holy shit, as soon as they announced this, I thought that that was just a lie. I thought that that was bullshit as soon as I heard it. Why would you cancel a game for not making enough money, and then just make another one to not make enough money again? Like, what the hell? The only way to interpret that was to have assumed that they're trying to sell games to people that are not willing to buy DLCs, and that just seems ridiculous. Like, they've lost people's interest with the DLCs, and now they're going to try and get the interest back by selling the same game again, like they did with the Warhammers. Like, what the fuck? At least with the Warhammer people, they were actually buying the same game over and over again. If people have already indicated they're not going to buy rip-off DLCs, why would you try and sell them the same game again? Oh my god. Oh my god, man. Oh, I've not sat and laughed about this yet, in case you can't tell. Like, this is me doing it for the first time. This is all freshly hilarious to me. Oh. So 815 employees, 8% growth, and then you've got Paradox that's got 56% employee growth. What the hell? Yeah. This is all public information, by the way, just like all their accounts. Let's have a look at this, see if this can come up easily enough. I'll have to download it again, no I won't. It comes... Yep. So, here is their accounting, and this is interesting. This came out a few months ago, and this covered the previous tax year. This is all public information, of course. Wow, it even has carbon emissions and all that. I looked at this months ago, and nothing here was surprising to me. It's just interesting to see this now in the context of these recent statements that have been made. It's hilarious. Alright, let's say... No. Let's find something here to make this worth looking at. Alright, there you go. There is CA's accounts. So they're doing better in 2022 than they were in 2021, and they're ostensibly doing better so far in 2023 than they were in 2022, and they want to keep doing better, which is what this is all about. They want to keep doing better and better and better. They're not interested in maintaining the same level of quality if it's not more profitable, or at least as profitable. If maintaining the same level, the same quality of output and games does not have as good as a return as it used to, they will not do it anymore. They will cease to maintain that standard. The standards will slip in order to protect the bottom line. Alright, let's look at Reddit. I want to see... Let's look at my comments on here. Alright, so this is my subreddit. We're almost in the top 10%, by the way, of biggest subreddits. So we're getting there. We're currently in the top 20% of all subreddits, but very soon we're going to be in the top 10%. Our costs are up. Czech's UK economy going down the hill. Okay, bro, nice lies in it. I think what you want to say is our overlords, shareholders, demand more pennies to be squeezed for the next shareholder meeting, or heads will roll. Yeah, exactly. This is it. I'm done. I feel bad that I bought Warhammer. I bought Shogun. Oh my god, I'm so trained to see people regretting buying Warhammer at this point. I feel bad that I bought Warhammer Medieval 2 after my CD broke. I shouldn't have done that. I honestly should have gone on eBay and bought physical media. And there are other ways to get games, of course. I love my games, but I also know that if people don't band together, then we're easier to deal with. The tone deafness of all their statements over the past couple of years maybe it's finally taken a front and centre stage more than anything else. I think that they were struggling and expecting a flop with Hyenas. Yeah, exactly. Yep. And the price hike is to lessen the blow, maybe even break even. Yeah, exactly. This is something that they could be doing. They could see those projects as being loss leaders, basically, and they want to smooth out their balances, their reports. Because there are, in case anyone has no familiarity with corporate accounting, being able to offset losses and stuff like that has big advantages. It can affect the bottom line by a lot if you can defer losses or bring losses forward or delay losses. This is why people pay accountants so much money. So there's a lot of reasons they would want to do this kind of stuff. I remember a while back there was a letter posted from Warhammer community being polite and still thinking that they can negotiate with CA. No, that's not negotiations. If it's groveling instead, exactly. And I've been dealing with this for years. Even other YouTubers would come to me and beseech me with, I'm trying to be a middleman between CA and my audience, and they didn't realise all along that they were just a useful idiot. They were doing free marketing while being thrown crumbs of acknowledgement, thinking that they had some say in anything, and they didn't have any say in fuck all. If you're not there during the board meetings, then what you say doesn't matter. The only way you can make what you say matters is by having a YouTube channel and saying it to thousands of people. What control you do have, though, if you're just one of the people that play these games, is not buying these shitty games, not buying the same game twice, not buying shitty DLCs over and over and over again. That's how you can affect things. That's the way to do it. The only way CA could learn, and I mean really learn, that keeping the user base happy means you get our money would be if no one bought anything from DLC or mainline titles. Just wait, CA is the one who did all of this by believing that anything is acceptable and no have to wait until they apologise to the entire community. Yeah, that's it. So I preempted what I said. The only way CA would learn, and I mean really learn, that keeping the user base happy means you get our money would be if no one bought anything from their DLC or mainline titles. Yeah, this is it. This is how they learn. If you just stop buying their fucking garbage, do better, fuck's sake. We'll cut support if you don't buy DLC. They were supporting the game news to me. This would probably be worse than the Rome 2 situation. Poor CA, what will you do now? Since you've even upset your Warhammer cash cows. Yeah, exactly, they managed the impossible. And this was always going to happen. This was inevitable. See, when they saw that there was wiggle room, elbow room, they're going to extend their elbows, they're going to wiggle as much as they can until they finally come up against some resistance. They've met that resistance. It took you fucking idiots too many years to finally present a resistance, and what you've now accepted is a level so far below shit that there's no saving you, there's no redemption. It's too late. But really though, 150% inflation for what? Are they trying to get the customers to shoulder the cost of a new building they bought or something? Yeah, or they're offsetting that against doomed projects like Pharaoh. That could be a lot of what this is. They could anticipate that Pharaoh's a flop and just have pulled funding for Pharaoh, and now they're trying to recoup that with this. That could be what's going on. Oh no, oh my god, proceed to not buy C products in the future. Let that trash fire fucking burn, see you lost the plot. I've saved a lot by not even buying the base game. Your super sexy reminder, DLC does not sell many units, it's profitable only because of low cost to begin with. Exactly. Less than 10% of a player base have purchased the most successful DLC to date of any Total War, besides the blood packs. Exactly. Most of the time it's less than 5%. It would be perfectly possible to use those same resources to deliver fully fleshed out expansion packs for a reasonable price, and they would sell a lot more, especially if there were standalone expansions which then subsequently combined with their base game, like Fall of the Samurai did. Relic, since bought by Sega, did so with the Dawn of War games. This was once going to be the future. Seeing as games are mostly sold incomplete with the expectation of later updates and DLC completing them, it would be perfectly viable to sell nothing but DLC or expansion packs and making a base game included in the price of buying any one of them. This would be a square deal between the producers and consumers though, and that would raise expectations back to what used to be normal. True, most people don't buy DLC, but its development cost is usually negligible, and for this game specifically it's beyond trivial. Like hobbyist modders outperform the actual devs using community built tools and their own assets, trivial. Most of this game lives in easily editable databases, scripts and assets. The only thing the developers are strictly necessary for are mechanical game and UI updates that require editing the source code. Where did you find the 10% data about the DLC's performance? I thought less people bought DLC compared to base games, but 10 to 5% seems really low. Achievements usually. Yeah, and there have been other ways to confirm this. But this is what you would expect. All the market and all the hype goes into the base game. A lot of people that buy a game just play it a little bit and then drop it forever. There's a diminishing interest over time. There's only a few exceptions to that. Like, I remember they marketed the shit out of some Ogres bullshit or something like that. I think even that Chaos Dwarfs one was another example where they actually brought people into Warhammer with that DLC. If they can find ways of bringing people to the game from the DLCs I think that's a big coup for them, but I don't think that's usually how it works. I think the DLCs is usually like a really add-on small subset thing where the most they can hope for is that a small proportion of the people who own the game are ever going to buy it. And the way that it works as a model, a business model, is that it costs almost nothing to make compared to the base game, but people pay a large percentage of the cost of the base game, of course. $25 compared to $60. Do you know how many man hours went into that thing that cost $25 compared to the thing that costed $60? It's not even comparable. It doesn't even remotely compare. So that's what's actually going on with these DLCs. Can't wait for them to bump Pharaoh's price up to $100, $120. My dude, that is already the price of the full edition. $60 is just the base game without any of the faction or campaign packs. Read features already mostly finished during development but held back to be wrapped up and turned on later. Yeah. Yeah, alright. I'm gonna go over to the shithole sub now. Let's take a look at the outrage, because that's what's provoked all this. If CE abandons Warhammer because of people not buying the overpriced DLC, I'm never buying another product from them. It may be dramatic, but I bought the first one when it released, pre-ordered the second. I've bought all the DLC before Chaos Dwarfs. You're part of the problem. This is all your fault. As soon as I saw the $25 price tag though, I knew I'd be waiting for a sale. You've been a loyal customer at CA. Yep, this is all your fault. All your fault. I've talked them up for being a great strategy game company. If you've done that in the past decade, you have been taken for a long fucking ride. I've gotten friends to play Warhammer. Yep, doing free marketing. And I've continued to be excited for things they're releasing because there's so much more that this game could achieve. I can't wait to see it. It can't really achieve anything, man. That's obvious from the fact that the way they make DLCs is to just shuffle templates that have already existed for like a decade. They're doing things modders have been able to do for like the past 20 years. They don't actually do anything that improves the way the game plays. Like, they're not making the game deeper or more complex. They're never doing that. They're just... It's like... what's a good way to talk about this? It's like it's literally a case of putting a new coat of paint on something and selling it again. Like, you're not actually getting... It's like iPhones. Like, something like an iPhone probably does improve incrementally in terms of raw performance. But see these Total War games for the past... I would say, at least since Shogun 2, they've just not been improving in terms of that whatsoever. And in fact, you could argue, as I have successfully, that they are regressing horribly. Just look at how guns, like, see, this is probably the most stark, the most shocking example. Look at how Parrot guns and Armstrong guns fire, and the projectile effects, and the impact effects and sounds. Compare that to modern Total War games with how the cannons look in those, like Warhammer cannons. It's so embarrassing. It's like a cartoon compared to a really gritty, futuristic game. Like, it's totally backwards. It really is horrible. So if you say this stuff, I'm just like, what are you talking about? Where is it? So much more this game could achieve. I can't wait to see it. I just don't know what he's talking about. We're just going backwards as I see it. But if they'd rather be greedy than treat their loyal customers and fans with respect and try to milk them for all they're worth or discontinue a product, I'm done with them. I'll support other studios. Just stop supporting studios. Just ignore marketing. Ignore loyalty towards companies and brands and just buy good fucking games. Figure out a mechanism for distinguishing good games from bad. Only buy the good when you know they're good. Simple as that. What is all this? Oh, this is... You haven't learned. I'll just go somewhere else and fall for the same shit again. Even, or especially, if my dream of a 40k Total War came out, I won't buy it because it'd only be a matter of time until they decide that that would be unprofitable and discontinue service to that. Welcome to capitalism. Oh my god. This goes back to the commodity fetishization that I talked about years ago now. I hope they listen. I hope they realise that this is an unprofitable path that they're going down in the long run. Because if they don't, it'll be a real shame for a company with such potential to squander it. They've been squandering it for a decade. A fucking decade, man. What are you talking about? And look at that. 1,600 upvotes, 93% upvoted. My, how the turntables have turned. 93%. Skipping the DLC seems to be working. It's afraid. Oh man. Remember, they need us more than we need them. Don't believe them. Yeah, of course. The CA stop supporting Warhammer 3, you're really blackmailing your core fanbase just because they may have an opinion on a game they love. Not so many copies of Hyenas and Pharaohs will you sell? Yeah, exactly. It does. I was going to say this before now, but I never actually did. This seems like some sort of fucking blackmail. It's like an emotional blackmail thing. It's like, this is a really nice establishment you've got here. You better keep that protection money coming, otherwise something might just happen. You know, that's what this is like. Keep that money coming, or else everything will go to shit. We'll just wreck everything. Fuck's sake. This is what you get for being loyal to a fucking brand. This is what you fucking get, you idiots. Dumb motherfuckers. You deserve it all. 37% upvoted on Warhammer 3. What in the fuck? 30... Oh wow, yep, 34% are positive. It's almost back to mixed reviews. Holy shit. Alright, see if your people... Alright, I'm just going to say this one time. If you are a Warhammer fanboy that has been brown-nosing the shit out of this company for years, has been just a rabid little bootlicker fanboy, has fucking lied about me for years wherever you could, like some little rabid fucking honey badger just gnawing at my ankles. If you've realised that you were fucking fooled this entire time and are never going to buy any of these DLCs again and are leaving negative reviews, I forgive you. Well done. You finally figured it out. Credit to you. Don't worry about it, man. Don't worry about it. I did all I could to warn you. Maybe I even helped. But I'm glad you got there in the end. I'm glad you finally got there. And there are people that match that description, because holy shit, 93%. Wow. That is encouraging. That is encouraging. Well deserved. Larian. Oh man, this is gonna be good. I'm just coming to these. I've not seen these before. Patch 1 has over 1,000 plus fixes, and Patch 2 is going to include a lot of your feedback out soon. CA, game too expensive to patch more than once every 6 months. Buy DLC or we cancel it. Perfect. I could have done it better myself. And I like how they're not deleting these. They wouldn't dare to delete these, you fucking cowards that moderate this place. They're the ones I really hate. Like, see just the average fucking goober on this place that falls in with the crowd and acts repulsively. Just spineless little followers. I don't mind them that much, like they can't help it, that's just their nature. But see the fucking people that moderate this place and have enabled so much of the bullshit that goes on in this place. I like how they are suddenly too much of a bunch of fucking cowards to even delete all of this shit. You fucking cowards, you pussies. Oh my god. Cowards! Yep, you better not delete any of this shit. Don't you fucking dare. Coward pieces of shit. CA's response made me refund my pre-order. As stated in the title, the response was such a big corporate nothing burger, it really got me upset. It's so sad to see. I thought €25 for Chaos Wars was an okay price, but the only acceptable price for the new DLC for me would be $20. Oh my god, €20. Fuck off. Only pre-ordered because I love Kathy and Kislev. It seems like every big gaming studio has a life cycle from passionate developers building a fantastic product. What everyone loves. Fantastic product, what everyone loves. Oh man, the grammar's always so bad. It just flitted into my mind. See this here? This reminds me of that scene from Better Call Saul where Nacho is like, are you really willing to blow up this deal over $20? And then Mike just says, are you? Oh, that's what this is like. It's €5. Oh my god. Come on. It should be €5 that you pay for the whole thing. Holy shit. Imagine spending 40% of the cost of the base game on a shitty DLC that adds 1% to the game. 0.5%, 0.25%. What are you talking about, man? €20 for this. I'm willing to get ripped off, just not as hard as you would like me to be. What the fuck? It's like I'm not lubed up enough yet to get ripped off to the tune of 25 euros, but let's do 20 euros. Holy shit. It seems like every big gaming studio has a life cycle from passionate developers build a fantastic product, whatever that everyone loves. Then the greedy suits come in and destroy everything. I love this series. I want it the best it can be. For me, it has everything to reach a Lord of the Rings legendary status. Nah. But at this point, I feel exploited and don't want to support this DLC. You are exploited, absolutely. And well done. I can still upvote even though I'm banned on here. I should be doing that. I should be upvoting these good ones. Yes. That's it. CA or costs are up. Also CA. The increase in operating profit can be attributed to revenue growing faster than costs. Yeah, exactly. There's so many contradictions. Oh my god. And that was from the report. Faster. Is it in this? Yeah, it's going to be up here somewhere, I think, maybe. Yep. The increase in operating profit can be attributed to revenue growing faster than costs. And they're sitting on like 50 million. Turnover is up by 24 million, 23 million. Profit is up. Wait, they're sitting on 50 million. Just floating 50 million right there. As a private citizen, I can get 7% with First Direct in a saving account. You know, a regular saving account. So like if they could get 7% on 50 million is 2.5 million. So like they can just make a free 3.5, 4 million if they can get that 7% that I can capture opportunistically. As a private citizen, they can probably do better than that as a corporation. Oh man. Just sitting on 50 million. Isn't that nice? Just sitting on 50 million and they're struggling. 1 year ago, this post aged like fine wine. Oh, I remember this one. I can see it. Warhammer 3. I remember this. Absolutely. Holy shit. And as you can see, there's a hell of a lot of outrage. This is an absolute shitstorm. It's over. Creative Assembly, I have the high ground. Underestimate the business reality supporting Warhammer 3. Nah, I don't like that one as much. Just seems like a fucking mess. There's a lot of Star Wars. DLC is $25 because costs are up. That means you're giving the extra $10 to the developers, right? Right? Nah. You could check that. You could check if salaries are up. You could probably see that on Glassdoor if people report their salaries rising to match the costs. Creative Assembly had my tweet. Don't forget, amongst the rising costs, they received extra funding from the UK government to move on from their lonely perch as a startup company. Yeah, exactly. I saw this. And I think I noticed a few interesting tweet hides because I think maybe it isn't the case anymore, but a few months ago or a year ago, it was possible to hide tweets and actually see tweets that have been hidden by folding them out from a little button. And I think I saw the Creative Assembly or Total War official account just hiding tweets opportunistically, thinking that they couldn't be seen hiding them. And it was just like, it was they were just giving it away, what they were doing. They thought they were secretly, clandestinely, you know, cleaning it up, their appearance, but they were actually just making it look worse because they were showing that they were engaging in hiding behaviour. Oh man. And yeah, this is funny. I've retweeted this. They are getting government subsidies for startups, even though they are the biggest game company in the UK. It's really rotten. Let's have a look at it again. 5 million extra funding for the UK Games Fund, which will help companies like CA go from startup to scale up, and they've existed for like 25, 30 years. They've existed, I think, longer than I have. This company's existed for longer than I've been alive, and they're getting money from the government. They're getting tax breaks, I think, as well, and they're being subsidised on the basis of being a startup when they're a established senior company and a subsidiary of one of the biggest companies in the fucking world, one of the biggest corporate entities to ever exist, and Sega Sammy Holdings, like fuck's sake, multinational, fucking Japanese multinational subsidiary, Japanese names all over all of their reports and accounts. Every big meeting that CA is involved with, there's like 3 Japanese businessmen in suits wearing glasses, with grey hair, sitting there. For fuck's sake. Startup. Oh my god. Alright, I think that's it. That comes in at nearly an hour, and I think that does justice to this subject. More follow-up to come. This has been entertaining. See you in the next one.
It's a long way down. Yes, it is.
If you are a fan of my work and want to support me, then I have a Patreon just for that purpose. I do my best to give out perks, including monthly updates on what I am planning and what I'm thinking. Special thanks to Matteo Olivetti and SJ Mage.